Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States of America. And of course, good morning to the entire world. Receiving our signals via the magic of the internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, created by whom? We the people, now controlled largely by those billionaires, which we will change. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about that hell of a speech that was pretty much a lying machine last night. But all I can say is proud of you, Al Green. Proud of you, Al Green from Houston, Texas, who was the only Democrat to raise up in there and says, no, you were not elected with a mandate, for which he was summarily thrown out of the room, out of the halls, and instead of the spineless folks following him out in solidarity, he left alone. Shame. But anyhow, let's get to the studio where we have the one and only the geniuses of the studio, which is Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Beba.
Well, mostly Jack. He's a pretty good genius too. In fact, I follow his lead. Well, good morning, Egberto. It is Wednesday morning at the radio, the 5th of March, 2025, and I did not watch the speech last night because I couldn't take it. I just couldn't do it. So I did see some highlights and read a synopsis of it, and of course, the Lie Factory. Well, it was there, and the Democrats did hold signs and heckle him, but not as good as Al Green did. But I'm also intrigued by this Vance, Vermont vacation, too.
Oh, boy.
A lot of those people, every one of them should be reviled everywhere they go.
Yes.
So
let's go and get that word of wisdom from the one and only Jack Van Beba.
Well, good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing fine, Jack. Talk to me.
I just kind of looked at the little headlines this morning. Car prices going up as much as $12,000. Grocery prices are on their way up due to the Trump tariffs. Here comes runaway inflation. Citizens, seniors on a fixed income, the poor, the working poor. Trump is attacking you. How will you fight back? Find a way to stop paying the corporations that are enslaving you. Stop paying the corporations and their products that are going way up. Just find a way to not buy. If the price of a product gets too high, leave it on the shelf. I see lots of Americans putting in gardens and chicken coops, So, protect yourself. If you can garden, it'd be a good thing to start one now.
Absolutely so, folks. Absolutely so. Anyway, folks, how many of you watched the speech last night? If you watched the speech last night, much of what you heard was fiction, lies, misrepresentation, misinformation, etc. But let me first take a personal note here. I'm an American citizen, but I moved here, was born in Panama. Panamanian. I was originally a Panamanian citizen. I naturalized to become an American citizen. Panama and the United States have always had a great relationship. But we've had this relationship as well with a lot of riots because the American, when the canal was built Panama got its independence because America wanted to build a canal. Panama used to be Colombia, and it was built by putting a battleship outside of my town, Colon, aiding those rebels in the province of Panama to turn that into a country again. And when that occurred, Immediately, the United States was the only country, the first country to recognize Panama as a citizen, and then as a country, and then they immediately signed the Panama Canal treaties, not with Panamanians, but with Bonadilla, somebody of another nationality. They signed the Panama Canal Treaty, and then the United States dug the canal and built the dams, etc., that formed the canal with the labor mostly of my people from the entire Caribbean basin. The Panamanians that built the canal were all from the Caribbean basin. The whole Caribbean basin is a big soup of people from Jamaica, Cuba, Cuba, Jamaica, Cuba, Barbados, Santa Lucia, all these different islands, or these people built the canal. These migrated Panamanians built the canal. So when you heard Donald Trump talk about all these dead people, it is the folks from my part of the world who built and dug the canal. Yes, it was paid for. The capital came from the United States government because they wanted to create a shortened route. But that canal was built with the blood, sweat, tears, and death of those of us that are called Afro-Antillanos, from the Antilles. We built that canal. And subsequently, the investments in that canal came after the takeover, all done with dollars, Panamanian dollars, rebuilt the canal, made the canal larger, etc. So anytime you hear Trump talk about taking back the canal, it's not about taking back the canal. It's about thievery. It's about looting. It's about taking. It's about bringing back neocolonialism. After, again, what America established in Panama at that time was an apartheid state within a state. Those are statements of fact. So when you hear or you try to become glory, glory, hallelujah, we're taking back the canal, that is not taking back the canal. That would be stealing the canal if they were to attempt it. Now, I know my Panamanian brothers and sisters will never allow that to happen. The canal is a very vulnerable waterway because of the way it had to be designed not to dig through too much mountains. So don't dare believe that there will be a functional canal if an attempt to steal the canal is made. Okay, that's a personal thing I had to give in there, given that that's where I'm from. Now, I want to play a video of this speech, not the speech, but the interpretation of the speech that I had, and also play a piece of what Rachel Maddow had to say about the speech. But before I get started, I want to second what our general interim manager had to say, and that is we are nearing the end of Fund Drive, we hope, but that requires us to support the station. We are going to cover a lot today, or I'm going to try to cover a lot today. A little bit about the speech. I want to cover about Social Security. That's going to be very, very important for you all to hear and listen to. This is a very important topic. We kind of touched on it with what was going to do. So we need you, but to be able to continue bringing you this stuff, we need your contributions. We need your support. So as Sandy said, please give kpft.org sustainer by giving $5 a month or $10 a month. $10 a month is what I do. I can afford the $10 a month as I also contribute to other nonprofit progressive groups. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Can you do $5 a month? Can you do $10 a month? Can you do $15 a month? My goal for today is $600. I still have to recover from several days of not making the quota. Please go to kpft.org, kpft.org. Hit that donate button. I ask you kindly to select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting so that it would accurately reflect what program is bringing in the income. And then give whatever you can. $5 a month, $10 a month, 15. If you do $25 a month, you can get a 4x8 brick. If you do $50 a month, you can get an 8x8 brick with whatever you want to put on it, and it'll be forever placed on our walkways or walls or I don't know, wherever, to show that you are supporting the station. Thank you so kindly. Let me go ahead. Look, I have one caller on, so I'll take Tag, then I'll go to the video. I don't want to keep Tag waiting too long. So come on in, Tag, then I'll go to the video.
Good morning, Egberto. Just wanted to call and say, I watched the whole speech. That's how much of a masochist I am. So anyway, even before the speech, there was interesting stuff on. I saw Jamie Raskin say that what we have currently for government is a monarchy, which I found interesting. I don't know if everybody knows what that word means, but so and he put a very interesting word before the term monarchy, and that's the word techno. So what he said is that we have a techno monarchy, which is what Trump is doing to us right now. And so I looked up an article posted on Facebook, explains, the significance of that. So, I didn't waste my time actually watching the speech last night. What I did is I did a lot of searching the web when something came up I found interesting, and then posted articles on Facebook about what he was saying. And one article I found was he had talked about Melania has got the fostering the future for foster kids. So I found an article about that. It was just for me it was interesting to come up with some articles to kind of explain what he was going through last night. And it was though I found an article that was really interesting about Social Security. And they went right down the list and said how many people are getting what, and it just goes to show how much BS he was really coming up with last night. So, there's no substitute for listening and then searching the web for answers. I mean, it really, if people don't do that, they're not doing themselves or anybody else any good.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that, Tech. I watch it in its entirety. I watched the Democratic response in its entirety. And then I wrote a blog yesterday, important one that I want folks to read, but I'm not going to read the blog here. You can go to politicsandright.com/newsletter to read it. But I kind of dissected quite a bit of it. But we right now, what we need, Tag, is our MAGA brothers and sisters to sort of take off the colored glasses, because they are going to be hurt the most. When we talk about Social Security, that's what we're going to talk about as well. But Tag, let me go play that video, and then we can continue. Okay, brother?
Yeah, have a good day. Thank you, Egberto. Love what you do.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for calling. All right, folks, I want you to listen to the video, and then we'll take and watch a video if you're on the internet, of course, listening to the show. Here we go. This is one of the most deceptive speeches I've ever heard by a president. But before I go into the deep deception, I want you to listen to Rachel Maddow, who did an initial crack of fact checking. By the way, it is a very small crack of fact checking, because the entire speech was really devoid of truth, and that is verifiable, quantifiable. The speech was basically a litany of lies. But here are the first fact checks from Rachel Maddow.
For the record, the worst inflation in this country was in 1980. For the record, the economy that he was left by President Biden was not a catastrophe. It was literally the best economy in the world. It was described by The Economist magazine as the envy of the world. That was the economy that was left to Donald Trump by Joe Biden. For the record, Social Security is not paying benefits in large numbers to 300-year-old people or 250 50-year-old people or 200-year-old people or 150-year-old people. In fact, the idea of Social Security as a bastion of massive fraud and overpayment is completely false. For the record, U.S. auto company CEOs are not psyched and delighted and so excited about President Trump's economic policies, including his tariffs. Take, for example, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, who said that Trump's tariff policies would, quote, blow a hole in the U.S. auto industry that, quote, we've never seen. The president flat out lied about U.S. versus European spending to support what used to be our allies in Ukraine. The U.S. has committed about $125 billion to Ukraine's defense. Europe has committed about $259 billion. The president radically misstating the character and quantity of our relative support for what used to be our ally, now appears to be only Europe's ally and no longer ours. For the record, Joe Biden did not close over 100 power plants. There were more utility-sized power plants up and running in the United States when Joe Biden left office than when he achieved office. For the record, there is no EV mandate. For the record, oil and gas production in the United States hit all-time records under President Joe Biden. For the record, even Doge has never claimed that they have saved hundreds of billions of dollars in savings. The largest items they have claimed to achieve as savings in the U.S. budget have been debunked and they've been taken down, but even they don't falsely claim hundreds of billions of dollars worth of savings. For the record, and this is disgusting, the president made a spectacle out of praising a young man who thus far survived pediatric cancer, as if the president had something to do with that. This was in the midst of him praising Doge. The Doge cuts, among other things, have cut off funding for ongoing research into pediatric cancer. For the record, I will note that Donald Trump did admit in his remarks today explicitly that Elon Musk is the head of Doge. And while that comes as no surprise to anybody who's been following the facts of this matter, that will end up in court because that is directly contrary to what the administration has overtly sworn to a federal judge about the leadership of Doge. I should also note, and this doesn't have to be for the record, I'll just note it for our own experience tonight, that at that point in the speech, when the president talked about how we will no longer be ruled by unelected bureaucrats, Democrats in the chamber pointed and laughed at Elon Musk. Unelected bureaucrat.
Now, you know what is so deceptive about this speech? We know that the president has, through Doge, has stopped cancer research in not stopped it, but froze it, cut it, all of that at once. Yet he brings a kid that has cancer, what cancer research of the past has done, help that kid live. We know that he pardoned a bunch of police killers, police attackers, feces-laden folks onto the Capitol. We know he pardoned those folks. Then he talks about law and order and loving the police and talk about solving or talk about making a crime one who kills police officers and others a capital offense. But at the same time, he pardoned these criminals. He went ahead and talked about wanting peace, yet at the same time talking about taking Greenland, taking the Panama Canal. So as he is talking through one side of his mouth in this particular speech, what he has done over the 43 days that he has been president was a total difference of that. Social Security. Oh, I'm not going to charge you tax on Social Security. Guess what? Most people who get Social Security don't pay any taxes at all. It's the rich people who get Social Security that generally end up paying taxes to defer some of the other income that they defer, but because of all the other incomes that they get. So this speech was really designed to go at his weaknesses. But unless you really are not informed, it'll work. But for those who are informed, it is impossible for it to work. Let's get busy and tell the truth. Let's make America understand that this guy's a clear and present danger. This guy's an autocrat. This guy's a dictator, somebody that we, the people, will stop. And we, the people, must stop the advancement of those policies at all costs. And I forgot to mention something about Panama, and that is, you constantly talk about the thousands that have died. 30, I think he says 38,000. Here are the realities. 22,000 people died when the Lesseps tried to build a sea level canal. That had nothing to do with the United States when the Lesseps tried to build a canal through Colombia, which the Panama province through Colombia. But when the Americans took over, it was under 6,000 people that actually died. So everything that this guy goes out there and talk about is devoid of historical evidence. It's also generally a lie. I want to give a big thank you to Mildred. Mildred, a new donor and a new sustainer. Thank you so kindly for your contribution. We are still about 500 and change away from what our stated goal for today is. Anyway, I'm going to get into Social Security right after Bruce, but Bruce is on the line waiting. So come on in, Bruce. Bruce, you're on.
Yes. I want to bring up something I haven't heard anybody else bring up. When Trump said that God stepped in and kept him from being assassinated, it was to make America great again. People should think about this now. That means God was looking down and saying, okay, there's going to be some shots fired. I got this guy over here that's going to protect his wife. He's an outstanding citizen. And over here I got an adulterer, a criminal, convicted criminal, but it's Donald. I better step in right away. That should make evangelicals really hot and mad instead of happy. Also, remember Hitler said after they tried to assassinate him and he survived that it was because it was his destiny to build the Third Reich. We know how that worked out. And am I the only one when they see them swinging chainsaws and talking about chainsaws, they get sick to their stomach? Because I think of Khashoggi and what happened to Khashoggi. It just brings that up. And then I have one more thing. Lauren Boebert was seldom seen clapping because it takes both hands.
Let me tell you, first of all, Bruce, I want to thank you for bringing up that issue about Donald Trump saying God protected him and there's destiny there while he lived the assassination attempt. I never thought about it that way, but now that you brought it up, you have it in my psyche. First of all, I always say I have the absolute best listeners, watchers, collaborators in the world, of which you are one of them. Because you know what? I think that statement that you made, it ought to be out there widely, because there are some evangelicals who would think, yes, that bullet only grazed Donald Trump, and otherwise, if it wasn't his destiny to rule, then why wouldn't he have gotten hit? And the way you frame it, what about that guy that protected his family? Did God want to kill him? Why did God even give the ability for that sniper to go undetected for a long time on that roof to be able to effect that shot? It's good. In speaking in the evangelical space, what you just said there is worth a hell of a lot, Bruce. Thank you for that. And
can I say one more quick thing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I gave my $100 at Cactus Records and Tapes. I didn't think about it. I should have asked for a T-shirt. Can I get a T-shirt, or do I need to wait till
No, sir. Absolutely. You can absolutely get a T-shirt. Just drop a line to, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and, it probably best coming from your email address. Drop a line to our business office. I don't want to just give an email out online, but drop a line to the business office. And if you want to send me an email directly, and I'll give you that direct line to email, it's at kpft@politicsandright.com, kpft@politicsandright.com. And I'll go ahead and send that out for you. But no, sir, I thank you for your $100. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay?
You too. Thank you.
All right. I want to get into Social Security, but Brother Augie's on the line, and I've got to get to Augie. Augie, come on in, my brother.
Yeah, I was with Howard. I was not going to watch that thing last night, but I decided to do it anyway, just for the heck of it. And the thing about Hitler and the assassination attempts, the British sent 2 assassins that were going to kill Hitler, but then they decided not to because he was messing up Germany so much. They decided to let Hitler live, and that's what and that's what happened here. And when George W. Was president, we were about to go into another depression, and the auto industry was about ready to cave in, but Obama saved them. And now it looks like the auto industry is ready to cave again under another Republican. Even some of the car dealers are saying they're not able to sell their cars because of the tariffs now. When there's one car dealer that voted and gave money for Trump, he says, because of his tariffs, looks like I won't be able to sell any of my cars pretty soon. And and Trump, and when he said, talked about the Democrats, he said, there's nothing I can say that will make them happy. Well, Stephen Colbert said something, oh yeah, there is something you can say that make the Democrat happy. I resign. They would have stood up and clapped then.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If he said that, hey, Augie, I need to get to Social Security, and because this is important for all of us to hear. And so you have anything quickly you can say that I can move on?
Yeah, for everybody that voted for him now has, they don't have anybody else to blame except that they helped this guy. Now we can join all those people that welcome Vance to his holiday retreat there and protest. Okay, well, thank you for all you do, man. Bye.
Thank you, Audie. I appreciate you very much. Remember, a couple of days, actually about a week ago, I said, don't be fooled. This whole thing about firing all these federal workers have a purpose. It's not that it's inefficient or anything of that nature. Is there inefficiencies in the United States government? Absolutely so. But the reality behind what they're attempting to do is to gut the government as much as they legally can based on what Congress has passed as what they had to do, and then replace them by the private sector. And if you doubt it, a leaked memo from Dudek yesterday confirms, and it's referenced in the article, here comes Trump's privatization of the Social Security Administration. Guess what? It's not only the libs that depend on Social Security for the investment they've made for their retirement. It's also our MAGA brothers and sisters. So this affects you too. You can continue to drink the Kool-Aid. You can continue to believe the lies, but ultimately you will pay in your pockets if this isn't mitigated, not tomorrow, but mitigated now by going to your congressperson and be a stand-up folk that's going to really look out for us all. A leaked email from acting Social Security Administrator Commissioner Leland Dudek on Tuesday sparked a fresh wave of warnings about U.S. President Donald Trump and government-gutting billionaire Elon Musk privatizing the agency. The Bulwark, an anti-Trump conservative news outlet, obtained Dudek's March 1st email to staff, which reportedly says, in part, that we need to revitalize the Social Security operations by streamlining activities, outsource non-essential functions to industry experts, and reinstating human judgment and common sense into every decision at every level. That's the line. Outsource non-essential functions. Well, what are non-essential functions? While Dudek did not elaborate, and by the way, why outsource it? Whenever the private sector takes on a function, it cannot be less expensive than the government, except if it underpays the workers that are going to do the same job. Because remember, you also have to pay profits. You also have to pay executive bonuses. You also have to pay for the shareholder value. So it cannot mathematically be cheaper, all things else being equal, than the United States government. While Dudek did not elaborate on that outsourcing non-essential functions will look like, or what it will look like, according to the Bulwark, Martin O'Malley, who led the agency under former President Joe Biden, warned that it could involve automation and the use of artificial intelligence to replace call center staff by people trained to help seniors and other beneficiaries. O'Malley also said that Social Security employees, he knows, report a toxic work environment. He told the Bulwark that they are driving people out there with viciousness that I believe will collapse the agency, which could result in interruption in your checks, in your payments, in your benefits. We have a 50-year low in staff. And so the president lied when he talked about the bloated Social Security or the bloated federal government. The federal government has the same amount of people it has in 1980, I believe. And guess what? There are a lot more Americans living today. So that was a categorical lie. Again, that the underlying reality here, and these guys appear hell-bent on breaking Social Security. Former SSA commissioner isn't alone in expressing serious concerns about Dudek, the president, and Musk, head of the so-called Department of Efficiency, DOGE, which is leading the Trump administration attack on federal agencies. Responding to the Bulwark reporting on Musk's own social media site, ex-House Ways and Means Committee ranking member Richard Neal said that after years of hard work and a lifetime of contributions, our seniors shouldn't have to worry about Republicans meddling with our Social Security. This is an attack on our nation's senior. Plain and simple. Also weighing in, ex-Congressman Mark Pocan declared that in no way, shape, or form should we privatize any aspect of Social Security. Social Security confirmed a goal to have 50,000 workers, which would require firing 7,000 workers. And right now, you know, there are lines very long. If you go to a Social Security office in the morning, you see people lined up for hours to get in. Think about that, folks. Do you want to think about the disabled folks, mostly old people, trying to go to the Social Security office? Social Security helps over 70 million Americans. Social Security is paid with our tax dollars. We all, when we worked all during our lifetimes, we actually paid into Social Security. It's no entitlement. It's something we paid for as a collective. Don't let anybody, the reason they call it an entitlement is if you believe they can tell their MAGA base, their uninformed base, that something is entitled, it makes you feel like, well, I am working. Why should somebody else be entitled to something? It's not that, folks. We have worked for it. Personally, I have put in hundreds of thousands of dollars at 14.6%. which is what a self-employed person put into Social Security over the years. If you work for somebody, you put in 7 point something, the employer put in 7 point something percent. So, folks, it is something we all paid for. It's not an entitlement. It's an earned benefit. Don't you ever forget it, or don't let anybody demonize it. And what's interesting is the people that get the most percentage of their income out of these government programs are the folks who label themselves MAGA. Well, a lot of them are finding out now as they start to lose jobs, as they start to get cuts, that, oh my God, the Grand Führer, Donald Trump, is not what we thought it should be. I got to get to the phones, but before I get to the phone, I need to do a pitch here. 713-526-5738. Extension number 1. Folks, we need your contributions more so than ever. There is so much of these truths that need to go out. There's some of our MAGA brothers and sisters that must become allies to protect us against the evil, to protect us against the destruction of the country. We must reach them. We need to reach them, and we can only do so with the truth. And we can only do so with the truth, with examples. And that's what we aim to do with Politics Done Right and the other programs, articles, letters, books that we write here. Folks, it is essential. 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button. Be sure to select Politics Done Right as the program you're supporting, please, and then give whatever you can. And we'll pass it on to Sandy, then I'll start taking the calls again. Sandy? All right. Maybe Sandy's off for one of his coffee breaks. So what I'll do is I'll take Bard and then.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
So,
go ahead. Go ahead, Sandy.
but the technology is baffling on hump day. Hey, folks, for those of you on hold and are calling in, thank you for doing so. This is your program. This is your station. Mildred chimed in as a sustainer from Brookshire. And that little contribution every month that she's making, that cup of coffee adds up when enough of us do it. Please, folks, if you haven't donated, this is the time to do it. We need this station. We need the show. We need these conversations. We need to have an understanding amongst all of us, between all of us. And it happens here. It starts here on KPFT. 713-526-5738, option 1. Or kpft.org. We can only be led like sheep if we have the blinders on. Let's take them off. Let's open our ears, which should open our eyes. Back to you, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Folks, we need those calls to come in. Please do so as you can. Billy Allison Irwin from Summerwood, thank you so kindly for being here. She said, if you knew nothing about what's happening in the world, you'd love the speech. I know plenty of people who don't follow world events, news, etc. So that is why we are where we are. If you only tune into sound bites, it all sounds great. And as well, hola, Joe from Los Angeles, California. She says, watched Trump. Condescension, brutal lies, victim exploitation, threats, followed by an unbelievably bland, exactly the opposite of what we need in response. I was so proud of Al Green last night. The next time I see Al Green, I'm going to give him a big hug. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to talk to Al Green and see if I can bring him to you in the next few days. Let's go to Bard, line number 1.
Good morning, sir. I'm glad somebody brought up the assassination attempt. What was the name of that kid that attempted to kill Trump?
I don't remember. Make your point because we got a lot of calls, Bart.
So nobody remembers. Why would the right-wing media keep his name from you? Why does nobody know this guy's name? He tried to kill the president.
I have no idea. Is there another topic you want to talk about?
No, I'll stick to this one. Why did he have 6 cell phones?
All right, have a good day, Bard. Let's go to Anthony. Come on in, Anthony.
Yeah, I watched the address last night. Had to drink a couple of glasses of wine before it came on, but I watched it up until the point where he just continually lied about the 200-year-old people that were still getting Social Security checks. I had to turn it off at that point. But I do want to applaud Representative Al Green for standing up to Trump. I wish more Democrats would have done it. I feel like when he was escorted out, the rest of the Democrats should have got up and left, or at least stood up and turned their backs on Trump. I think they should have done more because
Anthony, I love you, brother. Anthony, I love you, brother. You think exactly as I'm thinking. Go ahead, brother.
It was just a litany of lies. And I got a text message from a buddy that I went to college with. We were both in the Marines. I was in the Marines before he was. He's about 4 years younger than me, but he texted me yesterday. He said, I'm retiring from U.S. Customs after 34 years. He said the morale is at all-time low. He can't take it anymore. And he had actually probably one of the best jobs in U.S. Customs. He didn't even have to wear a uniform, didn't have to carry a gun. He had, the way he explained it, it was a really cush job. So people don't leave those kind of jobs unless they're just completely disillusioned. And the last thing I'll say is that, what really scares me about the way they're attacking Social Security, I saw Alina Habas, stand on the lawn of the White House and basically said that these 5,000 veterans that have been laid off, these federal workers, they're former veterans, the reason they were laid off because they just were too lazy to come to work. When I hear things like this, when I hear them attacking veterans, when I see that they're attacking Social Security at the rate that they're doing it, that tells me one thing and one thing only. Trump doesn't care about being reelected. I don't think he could care less about being reelected because he's not leaving. That's what I've got to say.
Thank you so kindly. Now, technically speaking, he cannot be reelected, but you know what? Thank you for that call, Anthony. Let's go to Gil, line number 3.
Sir, how are you?
I'm fine. Talk to me, my brother.
All right. The other day, I read on the feed about a quid pro quo between Trump and Putin. In 2013, the Miss Universe pageant was held in Moscow. A few years or some months later, a European bank guaranteed a loan to Trump. Suspicion under that Putin was influential in the transaction. What is your take, or what is your knowledge, and is the relationship between the two of them simply a quid pro quo?
I look, the truth of the matter is I can't give a definitive answer because I don't have the facts, and I don't do that. But here's the thing: one can infer, right? And if one infers that you have somebody that has murdered as Putin has, and that is who you're aligned with, rather than somebody. Look, I'm not trying to call Ukraine a saintish country or anything like that. I have issues with Ukraine as well. But I'm saying you don't alter your alliances for a guy named Putin, knowing what Putin has done throughout the world. You don't do that. So I think we don't have the exact reasons or rationale, but we can infer. Okay. We can infer, and Howard just reminded me. Matthew Crooks is the name of the guy who attempted to hit Trump. Anyway, we can infer that what you said is pretty accurate, my dear brother Gil. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Thank you, Mr. Gil, and we have a lot of calls and we still have some pitching to do. So thank you so kindly for your call. We'll have more time to talk as we get out of this fund drive. I haven't heard from John in a while. Let's go to Johnny. Okay, Gil, go ahead. Bring Gil and then Johnny, come on in. Hey.
Okay, real quickly because I'm not feeling too great, but I'd like to know from our fellow time traveler, Bart, why does it matter that the two people who tried to assassinate him were both Republicans? We all know that, and we've gotten beyond that. We've got to address getting Donald Trump out of office. For Christ's sake, how many times, Egberto, have I asked people like Brian and Bart to join with us and help us solve the situation? And instead, they keep defending Donald Trump. It's like they can't handle reality. What's my cousin, my family going to do if these Social Security checks are delayed or stop coming? Can they condemn Donald Trump at least for that? What the hell's wrong? And I gotta go. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Please get better, Johnny. We've been missing your voice at Politics Done Right, so do get better. Let's go to Moses. Come on in, Moses.
Oh, good morning. I'm going to say that very quickly. Especially when I always think the Christian zealots and hypocrites. God told Pharaoh, I could have killed you and avoid all of those 10 plagues, but I reserved you to show the world that I am not a joke, and no man is above the law, and I will meet you between two walls of my rage. And the next morning, the world will know Donald Trump cannot overcome the king of the whole world. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you so kindly, Moses. And I want to put a warning out for not only Donald Trump, but for Donald Trump's enablers. When America wakes up, all the cowards out there will be relieved of duty. Right now, and I'm not only talking about Republican cowards, I'm talking about Democratic cowards as well. I'm talking about independent cowards as well. Because what we have is a 5-alarm fire that needs to be addressed head on. We should be out there making sure that every turn that these criminals make has resistance, and we make people aware of their criminality, of their conceit, of their evil. Let's go to Eddie. Come on in, Eddie. Brother Eddie, you're on.
Hey, good morning. I wanted to ask and talk about privatizing Social Security because so I realize the benefits that I pay today go out tomorrow to pay a current benefit, and there'd be a gap in coverage. But if we could fix it so that 14% of my salary went into a private 401k, so to speak, I think that's a good thing. You know, I pay benefits.
It's a terrible thing. Let me explain some math for you, sir. We've done the math. Go ahead, continue.
So if I pay for 40 years and I die at age 60, all of that money I paid into does nothing for me or my family. If I could will that on to my children into their own retirement account, now they grow wealth. If they die younger, they can will it into their family so they grow wealth. And that's a way to create generational wealth, especially over inner cities where mortality rates are lower, where they don't live as long to use those Social Security benefits that they work hard for.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Do you pay your car insurance or your home insurance and all these different insurances?
I do. Yep.
Okay. Do you get anything back if you don't get into an accident or if your house don't burn down?
No.
Do you are you going to stop paying those? Are you going to say, well, instead of that, let me just put all my insurance money into a bank because you know what? If I don't get a fire or get into an accident, that money I can use to build generational wealth?
I have done that before because I'm required to have car insurance.
Right.
And I'm required to have homeowners insurance.
You're only required. You're only required to have homeowners insurance if you have a mortgage that needs a PMI. That's the only reason to have homeowners insurance. There's no requirement to have it. So let me explain something to you, my dear brother. This is important. I understand what you're saying. It is a capitalist way of thinking. And what it does is it doesn't have built in that capitalist way of thinking is good for certain areas of our economy. For programs, social programs, it is not. You can build generational wealth above and beyond that 14.x%. That 14.x% should be considered an insurance program that no matter if you are lucky or unlucky, you know that if you get disabled, you would be taken care of. If you also get, if you live long enough, you will get as long as you live. And for those who are sadly die, yes, it stays into the pot. I understand that argument to capitalists really seem to make sense. For humanity, it does not. And the reason it does not is that, yes, above and beyond the 14%, you can build generational wealth. I built generational wealth for my daughter by owning my home, owning my assets, etc. That's fine. That can be in the markets. But we do need a plan that takes care of all Americans, irrespective of their wealth, well-being, etc. And that's what Social Security is for. Social Security is not an investment plan. It's a social program to have humanity. Countries that don't do that are capable, are inhumane. That's all it's for, Eddie. I understand the capitalist thought to make capitalism cover every aspect of our life. Every aspect of our life governed by capitalism would be an inhumane system. Capitalism can work in certain areas and not in others. Anything else, Eddie, before I move on?
No, I guess that just makes me a strong capitalist. That's all.
Well,
thanks, I appreciate it.
You have a wonderful day, sir. All right, let's go ahead. And before I go to Patrick, let me go to Patrick and then I'll do the spin. Go ahead, Patrick.
Capitalism without common sense is pretty dangerous to everybody. George Bush Jr., the prince that was appointed by the courts, he wanted to privatize Social Security, and he pushed very, very hard. And numerous economic papers did a study after the 2008 crash. Mm-hmm. To see what it would have done to privatize Social Security, and it would have ended it. It would have completely wiped it out. And another thing too is the money we're putting in right now are for people in Social Security right now. So how is that an investment? How are you supposed to expect to gain interest on something that you're immediately using? It makes no sense.
Look, but it's not only that. I gave the example about a lot of folks that talk about this. They will everything the capitalists do for them. They put blinders on. They don't complain about their health, their homeowners insurance and all the other insurances that they have that most people will not get back a penny on. Social Security, at least you'll get something if you live long enough, etc. It's not an investment program. It's a social program. You can have your own investment program. I pay taxes to build highways I will never use. That is just how society, the social in society works. But you get it. I know you get it, Patrick. Anything else? I got 15 seconds before I got to do a station ID.
No. You have a great day.
Have a wonderful day, Patrick. Thank you so kindly for calling in. I'm going to go to Brian next, but I want to say this is KPFT 90. This is KPFT Houston. Let's go to Hector. Come on in, Hector.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
After work, a bunch of guys, we meet at a place and we'll have a couple of drinks, and talk. And somebody said, well, Trump is evil. Well, yeah, sure he's evil. You've known he's been evil for the past 20 years since he showed up in the political scene. You knew what he was going to do. I said, who did you vote for? He said, I voted for Trump. I said, then you got what you deserved. I just don't understand people. I'm not prejudiced. I mean, white is white, black is black, and Hispanic is Hispanic. But a lot of people knew what he was and what he would do. But I heard one guy say, I'd rather have Trump than a black man in the presidency.
Hector, Hector, and that does, let's make this clear, right? And there are a lot of people that did that. There are a lot of people that says I couldn't vote for a woman. A lot of these reasons came out. One of the things that we have to do, Hector, is educate. And by you engaging those folks as well, right? You are doing your part to educate others as well. So let me just say this. Thank you for that call. Thank you for telling me that. And thank you for saying what a lot of folks are scared to say. People voted for Trump because their prejudice superseded their prejudice superseded what they knew was best. And let me tell you something that I told a group that I spoke to. This was
destroy America.
Yeah,
what he's trying to do, destroy America.
Exactly.
He wants to be another Viktor Orban or another Putin.
Exactly.
Which is beyond me.
And
why
you know
would
what?
Want to do that?
Most people knew that is the way it is. And like I said, they allowed their prejudice to supersede what was best for the country. And so we just have to keep trucking along. We can't sit back. We got to keep trucking on. Muchas gracias, Hector, por la llamada. Thank you so kindly for the call, my brother. You have a great day.
Yeah.
All right, my brother. All right, folks, we're still at just one contribution. I know a lot of you want to wait till the end of the show to contribute because you don't want to miss anything. So I hope you will be surprising me as the show closes by filling up with all those calls and going to kpft.org to contribute in the name of Politics Done Right. Over the next 2 months, as the different committees in Congress start to work on this huge tax cut, this huge theft of our resources, we are going to have a lot of work to do at town halls. We're going to have a lot of work to do by calling into our Congress people to protect that which we earned, not what they gave us. Whether you have paid a day in Social Security, your existence as an American and participating in our economy means you should have the benefits of being an American. And don't believe the lie of lazy people Go into any ghetto, go into any barrio, go up into Appalachia, go into any of these places, and I guarantee you, you're going to see people busting their butts. Americans are not loafers. Americans are hard workers. We have earned it. It's the billionaires who are the biggest parasites on our society. They create nothing. They depend on the innovations that we do. But they have formed psychological engagements to convince you that you are not worthy, that you are less than, that they are the innovators. It's the biggest lie and scam that has indoctrinated the minds of too many. And if you listen to this program long enough, our aim is to let folks understand what their real worth is. And your worth, my brothers and sisters, all of you, 100% of you, minus the billionaires, is what makes this country what this country is and can be. Let's go to the studio.
Well, you talk about getting to your representative. Wesley Hunt is my representative. So I sent him an email saying, what is going on? What do I get back yesterday? 4 days later? Oh, a form letter. Oh, we are working very hard to make sure President Trump's blah, blah, blah. Don't send me a damn form letter. Send me a note saying, we are working to do this. We appreciate your concern. Here's how we are working to do this. But a form letter, that just really aggravated me. So, Mr. Hunt, you and I will be talking. Jack?
Please, I've only got one contribution, but you can still contribute in our name that it goes against my tally. Go to kpft.org, kpft.org. Hit that donate button, select Politics Done Right as the program you're supporting, and please give whatever you can. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.